Hey everybody, welcome to Shock Talkin'. I'm Gretchen.
I'm Camille.
And Camille and I had a little meeting yesterday, and so we were just kind of going over some ideas of certain topics, certain things that we wanted to share.
Yeah, we can be goofy, we can be fun, and we are having a good time. And I think we both thought, well, I kind of want to start making the difference that I wanted to do when I started this. And we talked about the reason we even started this podcast was to really talk to, ourselves out there, honestly. It's like, I've got a story, you've got a story, and between us, we've got a lot of wisdom in how we can help people. So this one's not going to be so goofball. We're going to have fun, but we're going to also talk about what really does slow people down in life.
So what we want to share with y'all is actually our experience.
Yeah.
It's not textbook. It's not some article we read. It's actually years and years of friendship. And, people are people.
Yep.
And they come in all different packages, but behaviors are what we're talking about. And so one of the great things that you're really good at, Camille, is you talk about people stealing your power.
Yeah.
And I think as adults, we don't really sit and think about that. We just kind of get into a mode where we're just living, but we're really not paying attention to how that happens.
Well, and if you look at just our experiences in doing this podcast, I mean, frankly, we get people that kind of want to be involved, but just business transactions prior to the podcast and stuff, what I would see is people, they would say one thing and do another, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I'm valuable. I have some resources for people. I'm intuitive. I've got some insight, and people have definitely wanted to utilize or exploit that in me. So, you kind of think you're going to start doing one side of a relationship, or even in a male and female relationship, in past relationships for me. I think they're on the same page as me, and I find out, well, they were really here for selfish reasons, right?
Yeah.
So we both have kind of been taken for a ride. I think everybody out there has been taken for a ride, and you bought into something, and it's like, just kidding. I really wasn't in this for love. I was in it for money. I was in it for, because you're Miss USA, I wanted to exploit your title and get you selling my product. And, there's just a handful of things that we both have gone through. And we're kind of sick and tired of being exploited. Now, that's on us to be smarter women, just be smarter people, right?
Yeah.
And my whole thing, I have this motto, tell the truth faster. I want to get to the truth quicker and faster because when I know the truth of something, I have free choice. I'm not in some sort of denial or some sort of spell. I'm not spelled by someone. I don't see them coming, right?
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point because what happens is, especially when you care about someone, you don't see that train coming at you because the denial of the feelings are, well, that would never happen. Or they would never hurt me, or they would never say that, or I'm sure their motives are as clean as mine.
Well, that's it right there. I do think we judge other people based on our intentions and how we really roll. So if I'm, I've seen a lot of people get taken advantage of, and if you're not thinking like that person taking advantage of you, you're not going to pick it up.
Yeah.
But how do you spot these kind of wolves in sheep's clothing? We talked about predators, we talked about pedophiles, we've talked about users, sociopaths. I think they say 1 in 25 people is sociopathic. That's quite.
That means you know somebody in your circle.
Yeah.
You know somebody, whether you recognize it or not.
Yeah.
We know. I mean, we've
been exploited by them.
I tell you what. Here's the interesting thing for me. You raise your kids to not be bullies and to be kind and to be honest and all of these attributes. In my adult life, I have seen more adults be
mean,
all the things that we're teaching our children not to be. And I wonder, Camille, is it because, man, we have a society of insecure people that they just don't want to see and face whatever is around them that's causing them? I mean, I get that they're people that are born sociopath or take on and narcissistic behaviors or things like that.
Well, let's answer that question. But narcissists and sociopaths, they don't have guilt, okay? They really don't have the ability to feel remorse. Now, that's someone, I'm not sure how they're created. Either they're damaged at an early childhood experience, or abandoned, or they really are born that way. I think there's, and I believe in past lives in a way. So I wonder if there's just karma they're born into. But you asked a question a second ago, are we teaching our kids to just kind of be suckers in a way? Because we are a society of followers, or a society of being, kind, civil people. In a way, and there are people that really can't see evil. They just don't want to see it, or they can't see it And then until it's unveiled and they're like, oh my gosh, this was my neighbor, this was my bishop, this was my pastor, this is someone I trusted. You know, these people that are wolves in sheep's clothing are extremely good at hiding their true motives and intentions. But if you don't teach your kids about evil and how to spot it, even adults, I mean, I feel like half my practice is helping people end the suppression in their life. Like they have someone around them that's bleeding them dry, that's energetically sucking them dry. And let me tell you how to spot someone who's being suppressed. They're roller coastering. Like their life does not work. They can't seem to get where they want to go. They're typically in poor health. They don't have a lot of money. They have no space, no money, no time. Okay, those are people that are roller coastering. Their life is one big chaos train, and they don't have credibility. The danger of thinking that someone who's roller coastering, oh, they're just losers. They just can't get their shit together. They're just, troubled, or they're poor them, right? We start thinking of these people like they're the problem. Drug addicts, alcoholics and stuff. I've never been a drug addict or an alcoholic that wasn't being suppressed by somebody. Flat out. It's a combination problem. You can't have a life and be a user without an enabler. So those enabling people, they need you to need them. Okay, and so here's the slippery slope about, these people that they're taking such good care of me. The first thing that a suppressive personality will do is make you doubt yourself. Okay, you can't do it by yourself. You need me. What are you gonna do without me? You can't pay your own way.
And with that thought, in the name of love, in the name of a church authority sometimes, in the name of someone with wisdom that knows more, I am your caretaker. I love you and I want to do. And what happens, I know what happened in my life was I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it right in front of me until years had gone by and I realized, wait a second, this behavior, I don't like how I feel.
Yeah. Well, you drained in power. You're less of a woman because of it. And there's people that really, they can't think clearly. They get up and they're like, what the heck? I mean, I've never been this insecure. I've never been this.
And you doubt everything.
That's right.
You doubt yourself.
And what I always say is, well, when did this start? I try and help diagnose this, and I say, when did this energy start? When did that, self-doubting start or health issues start? Sorry, I'm going to get my phone to stop doing stuff. Shh. In the name of Jesus. Anyway, so, but no, when did that behavior start in your life? And is there a new relationship? This is, I have a lot of family clients and I've got teenagers that start acting out. They start drinking or sloughing or, having sex or doing, inappropriate behaviors, or they're telling their parents to F off or whatever. And that's my first question. Well, when did this start? Now, and then my second question is, are there any new friends, teachers, substitute teachers around your kid? Because there's an influence coming in from somewhere. Kids don't wake up and go, oh, I think I'll just be a brat from now on. That isn't just total teenage era.
Slice my wrist or
there's
behaviors that are not what they were raised doing, maybe.
Right, exactly. So there's some sort of influence that they got from somewhere, and you've got to get smart at locating when things started and who is in the background influencing. And it's typically the ones that you don't suspect. The flatliners, okay? I call them flatliners because they're not really high emoters. They're not emotional. They're not drama. They're not yellers. They're typically kind of emotionless. And they seem like, well, they're getting good grades, or they're the kind of, they're the stable kid, and your kid's going crazy. It's the ones that you would not suspect.
But on the
they
other
look
note,
in such control.
Well, and you hear that all the time. I mean, I just been binge watching on Netflix, Locked Up, and it's this whole
prison life, right?
I watched like 14 episodes in one day.
Whoa.
But I was really trying to learn, just like you're saying, you don't just wake up and decide I'm going to be a criminal.
No.
And the majority of these cases and these stories of what I was hearing, and this particular whole season was about men. It's men locked up, so it's not women, but trauma that had happened in their life.
Absolutely.
And so one of the prison guards was saying, you walk up and down these cells and they don't look like you think a predator would look like.
Oh, yeah.
They don't look, and granted, a lot of them were your typical tattooed everywhere kind of prison looking person. My situation was in the name of a church. You trust me. In the name of a church and as a leader of a family, you trust me. So out of duty, I did. And one of the characteristics in my case, and I think you'll agree, is a lot of times these people, men or women, they're very patient.
Oh, look, if you're a predator, if you're a wolf in sheep's clothing, let's just say you're a pedophile, you can't impulsively act. You've got to groom. You've got to get that trust, okay? You've got to have the whole world trusting and believing in you that you're a good guy, and then you've got to patiently groom and seduce your prey. So you bet it's like a hunter, but they're out, they're setting up camp, and they know exactly what they're doing. But they're manipulating you. Oh, yeah.
And even in a situation
and it's multiple people, not just the kid.
Right. Yeah. Because I was going to say, the behavior is not just to make whoever the victim is believe that you're a good person. It's everybody around so that there's no suspicion. Or take the focus off of them and let's put it on somebody else.
Absolutely. And you have no idea how many times parents have said to me, that their kids, my kid said this teacher, my kid said this, church person. And I can't imagine it. I just don't believe it. I have heard that so many times, and I stop and I say, you need to listen. Hold on. If your kid, is this kid typically running these stories like this? Well, no, but I just can't imagine that his primary teachers, you need to imagine that, because that person, again, if I was a predator, I'm going to hide out where kids are. That's schools and churches, y'all. Those are where people are going to hang out, and you're going to automatically have a trust in a church or a school, right?
Yeah.
That's normal.
Or like, I'm not going to label somebody, but in a situation where you could be a coach, or you could be a teacher, or you could be, where children, like you say, where children are. I mean, we're not trying to say school teachers and church people are all mixed in.
But we've seen them all.
But we've seen it, like you're saying, is it wouldn't do a pedophile any good to be in a situation where there weren't children.
Of course not. So they're going to, and if they're a monster like that, they're going to have to figure out how to blend in and hide out and be part of the crowd. So, one of these guys I know, when he moved into a new neighborhood, he did some home baking and went door to door, introducing himself, handing out cupcakes. Now, I don't know. I think that's a little strange. I don't know. Stereotypical. Maybe this is wrong. Don't send me hate mail. But I know most straight guys are not going to be doing that. Okay, it just seemed a little bit flamboyant to me. And now I know who he is. Okay, this guy's a predator. He's a pedophile. He was, he's stalking his prey. I think he even offered to babysit. Okay, and unfortunately, some young 30s couples, 20s couples, in the predominant religion here, might think, "What a nice priesthood holder! What a nice guy." That was part of the shtick. I'm a priesthood holder. I was this. I was that. So it's definitely like, I'm selling myself, but I want you to trust me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes these people go far and above and out of their way to make you think they're great people. They're treats. They're always bringing you little treats, or they're thinking about a gift to give you, and they're good gift givers usually, because they figured you out.
That goes back to the manipulation. What's the end result?
Trick you.
And I will say, the biggest problem that we have, especially as females, is we don't listen to our gut very well.
Right. Well, and we all want to slip off our feet. We all want a guy to come in like the knight in shining armor and buy us things and pay for things and be good to our kids. And a rule of thumb for me is always a year. You date a year before you blend your families. And it's just not a good idea to have your step-husband or or something like that, or your wife even, your stepwife, to babysit or bathe with, or there's just things that you do not do. Do not have the appearance of things could go wrong. But I know predators that get in there and, man, they're driving them to school. They're taking them to school. They're picking them up. They're having a lot of alone time in that car.
They're helpful.
Oh, they're
And again,
helpful.
remember, and this whole subject isn't only about pedophiles, but you remember there is a motive and an
agenda,
operation of why they're doing it. So you have that alone time, and is the one time that they're in the car means they're going to be molested? Probably not.
No, the first 10 times, probably not.
But you think about Mary Kay Letourneau. Now, she was a 6th grade teacher. Yeah. She knew her victim when he was like in 2nd grade.
Yep.
She knew him all those years.
Groomed.
He finally gets to be in
man size
her class as a 6th grader, y'all. And he went through puberty early, so in her mind, she justified.
Sure.
So as soon as he graduated from 6th grade,
yeah,
which means he's still a minor,
right?
She took advantage of that.
Yeah.
And one thing that disturbs me about her interview, and I believe she was sincere in saying this, she did not realize that those laws and rules apply to a woman as much as it does a man. Because somehow she felt like she was being a mothering figure. You know, you don't have sex with the child when you're being a mothering
That's not being
or
a mother.
fathering figure. No. You know, to me, I'm like, that's a bunch of shit right there.
Well, and just, again, she looks so sheepish. She looks like such a little helpless, innocent, wounded bird.
She's the female version of what we're talking about.
But she's a predator. I mean, she's definitely preyed upon this boy. And yeah, but overall, these type of people, these sociopaths, the suppressors that steal your power, your life starts to not work as well. Okay?
Yeah.
So, again, the roller coaster effect takes hold. And they tend to set friends and relatives against you. They want to isolate you, kind of Black Widow corner you. And so they're your go-to person for everything. You know, and they might ingratiate themselves and again, try and buy you or pay for things or be your hero. So it is, you know, that is kind of our fairy tale Cinderella story growing up. We all want a knight in shining armor.
Right.
And these guys will cloak themselves like that and come in and save the day. And then...
And they tend to make you feel like you can't do one damn thing on this earth unless you have them. I know I found myself in a situation that I refer to this as a plant, you know, and I really had one root in the ground because every root of who I was severed. Yeah. Not all at once. There wasn't some big major catastrophe
You
that
wouldn't have
happened.
stayed if it was.
It
would have slow, gradual killing
over time.
You're suffering,
Yeah, that you know, and that roller coaster, and this is what happens. You know, the roller coaster doesn't mean you're always down in the dumps.
No,
because they know when to pull back and go, let's make her happy,
right,
or let's make him happy, and stick them off guard.
That's right. Well, and the off balance is kind of when they can siphon your power. They like you upset. And then they'll you know, patch you back together. They'll be your hero, but they want you upset. Yeah. They want you needing them somehow.
Well, and they want you too to feel like you first of all, you're nothing without me.
Right.
And that you can't make it without me.
Yep.
And so, you know, it's almost like it's in your face. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right?
Yeah, right.
You have a house full of kids and no job. What are you going to do?
Right.
So then you all of a sudden you go, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so what we are sharing with you is, because you've been in this situation, is
I have an ex that got a neighbor pregnant.
Your best friend.
Uh-huh. I had a double whammy, double betrayal. So yeah, totally. And I'm stuck with not even 1-year-old baby.
Right.
It's like, what you gonna do? Well, I you know, I struggled. I went on welfare. I got out, but I had no support.
Yeah. No,
I had nothing. Never, and I've never got child support ever. So I started out. I started over, and I clawed my way to the top. Frankly.
Which, you know, that's the whole reason why we're even talking about this from our point of view.
Yep.
You know, and this isn't only for single moms.
No,
or
it's for
any
everybody.
single parent.
Women are suppressive too, y'all, not just men.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Excuse me. I just think it's, you know, this Me Too movement is really only tackling one particular situation.
One abuse
problem.
Of power issue. Yeah.
You can be in a healthy marriage, relationship, whatever, and be suppressed.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, you can be not sexually abused.
Yeah,
and
you
be
don't
suppressed.
have to have somebody come onto you sexually to be a Me Too movement person. No. You can be living with someone, and maybe you have been for years. Mm-hmm. You don't have a voice, and you're not allowed to have a voice.
Yep. And if you have a voice, then you're made fun of, or you're mocked, or you know, you're looked at like, well, you know, gosh, you know, you're kind of bossy for being so fat. I heard that. Yeah. I'm having a kid. I'm having his kid, and you know, I don't know that I'd listen. Check yourself out. You know, you're really bossy for someone being so fat. It's like, okay,
what does that have to do with what?
Yeah, no, but this is here's what these kind of people do. They figure out what you're insecure about. Mm-hmm. They figure out your button, and after the hero moments, I mean, they kind of do the love bomb, and then you're thinking, wow, this is the best thing ever, and you're in the deal. You're trusting, you're committed, you're 100% in. You know, he's got on your bank accounts, and this is what happened to me, right? So I'm thinking, this is great. All the love stories, love songs recorded. I've got love letters like you wouldn't believe. I'm thinking, this guy's crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah, I thought. And that was
the grooming.
There's the trick. I'm thinking, oh, he really wasn't into me. He needed me. He used me. Then I get pregnant. I'm gaining weight. Well, that's obviously a button for him, but it's also a button for me because I'm thinking, oh, I'm not as fuckable, right? So all this is going on, and he says that kind of breakdown. It's like, let me just hit you where I know it's going to hurt. And then I'm off balance, and then I'm insecure, and then I'm not as powerful. And that is the goal.
And that is where men take our power, because we, while the men, if you want to think about the animal kingdom and the lion, okay, so they are king of everybody, right?
Yeah.
So in a relationship, whether they're married or not, while we want to have a voice and there's a lot of us that's really important, our feminine natural instinct is to be taken care of and loved. And that doesn't mean financially.
Take care of the nest, but
that
children
means, there's a security. Women need security.
Yeah, well, that is the number one button for them is, am I safe here?
Yeah, and that doesn't have to be financially. So in your situation, and I was there too, if your security comes from the fact that those love letters and those love songs meant he loved you.
Right.
And then he comes at you and says something that you in your mind go, physically you're not attracted to me, that means you don't love me. So we put all this together just so every stinking time you're going to replay that and replay that and replay that.
Yeah. And there really isn't trust. There isn't someone you can trust there. But they want you thinking that you can trust them.
Yeah.
And then, you're off their scent.
So what do you do when you're in that situation and all of a sudden you're starting to realize that was the most unloving gesture, act, thought, words?
It's hard to see it when you're in it typically because usually you're beat down a little bit or you're so in.
Got that one root.
You got that one root left. So, and you really can't fight that battle. I think it's when you start maybe having a support system, and I try to tell people, even with men, have your terms, have your guys, have your people when you get in a relationship so you don't lose yourself,
Right.
But typically these kind of suppressive people, they isolate you, they corner you, they move you out of state, they take you away from your support system. I was in California, not in Utah, But I think that you kind of have your own identity before you really do get married. And that doesn't mean it can't happen even if you have your own identity. I mean, my hell. You're Miss USA, That's a pretty powerful identity. That's a pretty powerful, confidence build, right? And if it can happen to you, it can happen to any woman out there, honey.
Because you know what? I mean, I had come from, one of a handful of women in sports with ESPN.
Yeah.
I had, this Miss USA title, doing a lot of endorsements, working in TV. And then I was told, okay, so, now you're in this situation and you need to leave all that behind because here's your new role.
Yep.
And in my head, I always thought, why can't I do both? Because I'm not doing the financial role all the time. It's just when things come up, right?
Sure. You're endorsing things, you're using your crown,
Right. But in the name of love, in the name of this is what, couples do and this is what your duty is.
Right.
I doubted myself. I thought, you know what, that was my life before, and this
and I got to give up my ego and be a mom and a wife.
And don't be vain and don't be selfish. And this is where I've had that fun life, and this is where I go. Well, then all of a sudden I find myself years and years later. Okay, it's time to leave.
Yeah.
And now what do I do?
Right.
And in my situation was. 20-something years ago, I was Miss USA. Nobody cares right now. And I haven't been in TV in all this time, so what do I do?
Yeah.
And so, and I was in a situation where there was no money. And neighbors were bringing over, I remember this, they were bringing over food left over from wedding receptions to my
help
home.
You. And your kids, 5 kids,
5 kids. I had to borrow money to go buy one of my daughter's tampons.
Yeah.
I mean, just
it got that bad,
and you don't see, and it's like you said, I was in it for years,
Yeah.
Not happy.
Yeah.
But didn't think, okay, this isn't right. Just thought, okay, well, I'm in one of those sucky relationships that 50% of our nation is. That that actually are polled.
Yeah. But you don't see how he slowly eroded your identity.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. And that's what these type of people do, is they slowly take away your your achievements, and they mock them, and they don't, you're just not, you have no new achievements.
You know what it was? I clearly remember this. Do you remember when Oprah do you remember when Oprah used to come on and you get a car and you get a car,
yeah.
you know? And truth is, I mean, everything was sponsored. She didn't pay for anything, but still she provided a way for people to have
a resource.
Pay your house off. And I mean, there was just so many things. And I remember I said one time to him, I said, oh my gosh, this is what happened today. This was so amazing. And I was just so humbled.
It's impressive.
The lives that were changed by whether it's sponsors or however it worked, it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter. And the comment to me was, by the fruits you shall know them. And if she has to get on TV and make herself look that good in front of people, she's not doing it for the right reasons. And I remember saying to myself, you don't know her.
Wow.
How can you decide when a whole audience is and their families' lives have been changed?
Blessed.
Blessed. I mean, maybe these folks desperately needed a car.
Yep.
Maybe they needed a washer and dryer. Maybe they needed a college education.
Yeah.
Right?
And isn't that funny how here's what I see in that. Anyone that you would look at and be impressed with, oh, no.
Let me shoot that down.
I'm your God.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I see.
Yeah.
And
funny you use that word because there was a time when this person was investing in commodities. And there was a day where there was some money made. And I had said to this person, did you thank God? And he goes, why would I do that? I made the decision. I made the investment. I am the God.
Wow.
And those were things that stuck in my head as time went on. Wait a second. Anybody that says they're the God, that's powerfully wrong.
They're all ego. That's all ego person. That's not God-filled. That's just an ego.
So when people and couples come to see you and you recognize and you help them recognize you're being suppressed, how do they get out of it?
Well, the first thing I have to do is educate, because I've had a woman come in with a black eye and a bloody lip, and I look at her and I say, who did this to you? Well, my husband. Well, have you left him yet? No, I can't. He's a cop, or I'm afraid, and I'm like, okay, girl, got to time out you, because I am not going to sit here and empower you and get you going in a direction when you haven't left yet, because I'm going to make you more of a target, and then I'm going to be a target, because I'm going to empower you, and you've got to leave. You got to help yourself, and then I'll help you.
Right.
Okay, and that's really how it's done. But if that kind of crap's happening, that's where the police are involved and stuff like that. You got to be really careful, and people have to be ready to leave and take care of themselves. A lot of times it's just when you've had a gutful, and sometimes if someone, you've got girlfriends out there and guy friends out there, they just put up with the garbage and put up with the drama, and she says this and it's not true, and I never did that, and he's calling me this and Keely's calling me that. It's all a diversion. It's all a distraction for you to get off their scent, and they want you upset. They want to roller coaster you so that you're not seeing what the hell's really going on. The drama is distraction. Remember that. And then look past the drama and figure out what this person's really running on you. It's some sort of game of manipulation. Right. But until a person's had a gutful, you're wasting money and time. And I hate wasting money and time. So I just say, until you've had a gutful, don't come back. What
do you say to people that say, I can't leave, I have kids?
I had a kid too. I understand that. Well, then you've got to get strategic, and you've got to get a support system, so you have at least a support system to back you up. And if there's abuse happening, there's a report filed on that, frankly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And here's the situation, friends. 1 kid or 5.
Yep. You can do it.
You can do it.
There's a lot more out there nowadays than there was a long time ago.
You can do it, and don't think that your children, I'll just tell you a spiritual moment. It took me 5 years before I can pray, can I leave? Because I was so afraid the answer was going to be no.
Wow.
And I remember I was vacuuming the stairs, right? And it was loud, and something came over me that said, ask. And I said, can I leave? And the answer audibly over this vacuum cleaner was yes. And I immediately said, what about my kids? And the response was, I love them more than you will ever love them. So, if you find yourself in a situation that you can't stay, it's not good for you, it's not good for children, this is not a healthy situation, you will have that power. You will find help. I don't have family up here.
Yeah, no, you're on your own.
And I didn't tell my family for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So You know, even if it's neighbors bringing over food from a wedding. You know, and here I'm Miss former Miss USA, and I'm eating leftover wedding food because I have no money and no immediate ways of feeding my children.
Yeah. Your survival was gone.
I mean, we were just talking today, I'm still paying on a credit card that my daughter had signed a contract to be on this dance company that was a 45-minute drive. She danced there 6 days a week.
Yes.
So I am in the car.
Driving.
I'm still paying on that gas bill.
Wow. And
But
no
I
help.
wasn't going to take away what was important to her.
Okay.
And so I think whether you're a single parent as a dad or a mom, man, you get resourceful.
Yep. You have to.
You get in a survival mode and you will do what you need to do.
That's right.
But you're right. You have to have a gut full.
You got to get your gut full. And until you've got a gut full and you want a different life and you're willing to look up and say, whatever it takes, help me out of this.
Yeah.
I do believe in spiritual support. I have seen it. I have felt it. I think prayer is powerful. And I'm telling you, I think I don't think any of us are really ever alone.
No.
I do think we have to just take that leap and trust and love ourselves enough to make a stand for
And
ourselves.
leave the guilt behind.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people said to me, you know, if you don't do this and this and that, you're going to have blessings yanked from you. Your kids are going to get pregnant. They're going to be on drugs, you know. And I had a fear of God because of a decision for a long time.
Right.
And it, you know, he just kept showing mercy to me, that all of a sudden I went, hang on, that's not the God I know.
God isn't, no.
God isn't one that goes,
Punishment.
yeah, I'm going to punish you. I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't parent that way.
No. I mean, the whole atonement is really at-one-ment. You become one with.
Yeah.
And if that whole, Christianity, I mean, the whole story of Jesus is that Christ would die for all mankind's sins. Well, that's a loving God that says, I'm saving you because you don't figure out how to come back to me. I'm going to send someone to take away all that stuff so that you have grace.
Yeah.
And the whole power of Mary, I mean, Mary is grace. So, no, the plan of what I think you were going through was, to me, evil. It was Satan's plan. Make, conform, control, no grace, no love. It's just letter of the law, follow the letter of the law. That's not how it works. Where's your agency? Where's your free agency?
Right.
Yeah.
And relate all that to a relationship.
Right.
If there's force,
Control.
if there is control, if there is threats,
Jealousy.
that is not a relationship of God. If that is your goal, is to have a relationship that is blessed and loved by God, you need to look at the dynamics of what's going on in your relationship.
That's
we
right.
talked about red flags.
Yep.
And I don't want those to come across as a casual, like, he won't let me look at his phone or whatever. Those are serious red flags that perpetrate into other areas.
It's emotional abuse first, yeah. But if you really start feeling like you can't express yourself, you're editing yourself, you feel like you're going to be judged, again, this is someone who's intimidating you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, when you first start dating somebody and you're kind of working that way towards a commitment of a relationship, whether it's marriage or not, look when it changes.
Yep.
And look what happens when it does.
And I'll tell you, the turning point typically is when you get all in. When you finally say, okay, let's get married. Okay, I love you back.
Right.
When you finally get committed is when shit changes. That's when it happens, because then they go, oh, okay, good. I don't have to be perfect anymore. I got her.
The hunt is over.
Yeah, I conquered. I've conquered now, or I got sex now, or whatever. I've conquered now. She's committed to me. She's all in. And then the chase is over and they're done with you.
Right.
So it's the love bomb. They can't live without you. They've got to have you. You get all in. Oh, the devaluing begins. Oh, gosh, you've gained a few pounds. Or, oh, gosh,
then the fat comment comes. Or then, you're, in my situation, I'm always attracted to younger men than my 52 age.
Yeah, because you don't look 52.
Well, I'm not talking like 20-year-olds, but,
Totally.
My Kelly is 46, and I'm older than him. And what that does in my mind is I have to become okay with me. And I have to guarantee in my heart that, there's a whole lot more to love about me than where my skin is today. Because tomorrow may not be that way. You know what I'm saying? And
it's a liability. I look at you and you're obedient, you're disciplined, you're at the gym. I mean, you're still doing what you did 20 years ago to maintain your health and your well-being, okay? And I think it's a little bit of liability, because if any woman, any man, if you're job or your survival financially depends on your looks,
Yeah.
my gosh. I mean, the pressure of that, maybe that's what I need. I'm just saying.
Nope, it's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope, but I do think that it turns into liability, but it can convolute your worth.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you become
Yeah.
a situation where your self-esteem can, and that's the problem with social media, it can be based on everybody else's opinion.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so then when you find yourself trying to get in a relationship or, even just dating or whatever, it's so focused on where do I compare with whoever else you've been with.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Instead of knowing that, my gosh, and you and I were talking about this yesterday, especially for a woman, and I'm only speaking because we're women, so I'm not saying men don't have this, but what we know in wisdom over years and experience far outweighs anything that has to do with perky boobs and clear skin. Right?
I would never go back. I mean, I was not as confident, not as powerful, not as freely expressed. I want to be free to be and free to say. And I was not free to be when I was younger.
No.
So the wisdom that I have gleaned over the years, would I like a younger body? Absolutely. But am I going to sit there and pine away for that? No. I'm going to be accepting of myself. I was listening to Oprah once talk to Eckhart Tolle, and he wrote The Power of Now. Mm-hmm. And I somehow was brought up that he wasn't an attractive man. And he said, I've never had that problem. And I feel that way in a way. I mean, I've from being kidnapped on, I gained weight because I didn't want to be picked up and I wanted to be heavy. I know that sounds crazy, but I chose that then.
That was your defense, though.
It was a definite survival skill for me. I didn't want to be grabbed again by somebody. But, I mean, over the years, I've gained and lost. And I'll lose again. It's just how it'll go. But for me, I see what you go through as a model, as Miss USA, as a thin woman, and there is a ton more competition in your lane than my lane. I'll keep in my lane and here's the thing, I'm just not in that world. I don't even rank to be in that world. I'm not making myself wrong. I'm relieved I don't have to. So do I think that I'm less of a woman because I'm not size 2? No, I really don't. I just kind of think that's just not my experience of life. It's never going to be. And I'm okay with it now.
Yeah.
I wasn't as a younger woman.
Right.
But now it's like, well, whoever I'm with now, it's like they're going to love me as I am, and they're going to accept me as I am.
And I mean, now that we're talking about this as women, the funny thing is when I see you, I don't see weight.
Most people don't, and frankly, I don't either. I mean, it's just, but some people that are hyper conscious about, like fat conscious, they do, and I just thank them for sharing. I just don't. It just doesn't faze me anymore.
But
frankly.
I will tell you, I mean, because you mentioned the comment about one of your exes saying that.
I
even with my size, I still had those comments given to me, especially when I was pregnant, because he knew.
What'd he say?
He goes, I'm still trying to love you even though you're getting fat.
Woo!
Y'all, can I just help you understand a little something, assholes out there? Getting fat and being pregnant, two different things.
Yeah.
And to me, he knew my insecurities because this was my first baby. Am I going to go back to my size?
Yes.
He knew that was my
I'll
insecurity.
worry about that. Yeah.
Right.
But this is the systematic breakdown of your self-esteem, and this is what predators do. They will figure out what your little hot buttons are, and they'll tweak it, they'll work it, and they'll chip away at your confidence.
Yeah. So what we're trying to say now is recognize when your inner goes flag. Don't dismiss it.
If you look in the mirror and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, you're fine.
If you look in the mirror and say, I don't look like I used to, I'm really aging, or I'm really whatever, that's a little bit of a sign, frankly. You don't look the same, you don't feel the same, you feel worse, you're worse off now.
And it has
than
nothing to do with
before.
aging.
Exactly.
So it is.
Exactly.
I tell you what, a bad relationship will age you faster than anything.
I agree.
And I don't care how much, I remember during all those years, a doctor saying to me, you just need to take the stress out of your life. Shut up. Like, that is not possible for most of us.
No.
And I'm sorry, but going to the gym is going to give me that much stress relief, but then I still go home, or I still have a job, or whatever it is causing that stress. It's still in your face.
That's right.
It's still in your face. So what did I do to relieve stress? I said to my children, and this is when I was single, you will give me 1 hour to myself.
Yep.
I will be a better mom. And I don't care if that means
That's
I'm
smart.
going to go to the gym, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to be in my room and shut my door and don't you dare knock on it.
Good.
That was my rule.
That's smart, and that's wisdom. And then your kids go, Mom just needs a minute. And they don't feel like it's their fault.
Yeah.
And I'll tell
They're
you
like,
what.
what's wrong with her? She's got the door shut.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're giving them a little, give me a minute, let me calm myself down or work out or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that, as we get older and we go through these experiences, sometimes you got to discover this stuff for yourself. You can't be told. But we'd like to share our wisdom from our, 500 years to combined experience.
Yes.
Just to help y'all out.
Yes.
If you have any questions about a situation you're in, or if you want to ask us anything, we'd be happy to answer.
And just wrapping this up, if you're not sure what you're feeling, you're not sure about these feelings,
Yeah.
we can help you recognize what's going on.
Yeah.
So Shock Talking is a little bit different today. Doesn't mean we're not going to come back and be sassy. But today, these are messages shared from our experiences in our heart.
Yeah.
We would love it if you watch this and you've learned something, if you will tell your friend.
Share it.
If you will share it with somebody, and that helps us, and we want to help you. So thank you, everyone, for being with us today. We'll see you next time.
Yes. Bye.